Live from across the tri-states, this is KHQA This Morning. It's your news now.
Meanwhile, our own Kristen Aguirre joins us live from Dan's Auto Care in Quincy this morning.
Yeah, she's talking about car care and how to fix things, maybe. Kristen, what's going on?
What's going on? Good morning, guys. Now take a look at this beauty, 66 Pontiac GTO. So for all you car care lovers, and even if you just have a car, it is National Car Care Month. And coming up after the break, we're answering any of your car care questions. You're watching KHQA This Morning.
Car care, what you need to know to take care of your ride. What's going on, Kristen?
That's right. Good morning. April is actually National Car Care Month, and it's actually, research has shown, one of the months that are most important for you to take care of your car. Now, why is that?
Well, first off, we're coming out of winter, and we seem to neglect our car during the winter months. And then we need to keep after our fluids, check our tires, just basically have it serviced and get prepared for the up-and-coming driving months.
Now, I know we've done a live shot before, actually, because the summer months, it's actually very hot. So is it important to kind of make sure that all those mechanics underneath the hood are good to go for those temperatures?
Well, yeah. Coming out of winter, like I said, you forget you check your fluids as much as you should. It's cold. Nobody wants to get out there and do all that. And then get it serviced right away. And those guys, those fellows will go ahead and take care of your car and check things over for you.
Now, what are the most common issues you see when people come here during these spring months to kind of get that tune-up before winter?
We're working to see some cooling system failures, some belts, hoses, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. So this morning, what are we going to show people a little bit about?
We're going to talk about brakes, timing belts, just average maintenance stuff.
Awesome. All right. Well, coming up later in the show, we're going to dive into some car care questions. Now, if you have any questions about your car, make sure you tweet me out at Kristen Aguirre, or make sure you Facebook us.
Good to know.
Those little things that you don't think about you need to check, especially as we roll into April and get
like
the car
oil.
ready for the summer. Kristen, what's going on?
That's exactly why you need to check your car. And April is Car Care Month simply because that reason you're transferring your car from the winter season to the spring season, and that's where people find a lot of their issues, right, Dan?
Correct.
So what are some of the most common problems you're showing us right now?
Well, right now we're seeing some cooling system failures and some belts. One thing that we always have a tendency to forget about is that 100,000 mile maintenance. At that 100,000 mile, we may want to service the timing belt. And of course, when we do this timing belt, we'll want to service that water pump.
So what exactly is the timing belt? I'm not too savvy in the car care here.
The timing belt keeps the crankshaft and the camshaft in time. In the middle of all that is the water pump. Mm-hmm. And obviously the belt is drives the water pump. Now we don't want to forget about him. We always service that timing belt, and it's rather cool. I've been servicing some of these 3 times now.
So what happens if these break?
Extreme damage can come to that engine. We can bend the valves, break hoses and pistons and things of that nature. Obviously, we want to try to keep our engine together.
So this is something that I didn't know. So every 1,000 miles, we should be having this maintenance?
Right. Every 100,000.
Oh, 100,000.
100,000 miles. That timing belt needs serviced. Now, not all cars have that. About 70% of today's cars do.
So the way you can go ahead and take care of this issue is by just simply having it maintenance. And how much does that typically cost?
These can run between $300 to $600.
Oh, well, now I know why some of us maybe held off a little bit. But you could save yourself a lot more money by getting it maintenance. So for more of these car care tips, make sure you check out our website, connecttristates.com, and keep it here because we will have some more tips that you need to know.
The price on that was definitely the one I was waiting for. Yeah, what's going on, Kristen?
Well, we are celebrating National Car Care Month. April is a month where your cars need the most care because they're transferring from the winter season to the spring season. Now, we asked on Facebook, Dad, how people are kind of taking care of their things, whether they're doing it themselves or, you know, they're coming into an auto care place like you have here. A lot of them said that they're checking YouTube, then kind of fixing it themselves or coming in. What do you think about it?
I think it's awesome that consumers trying to get more knowledge, and they don't feel so silly when they come into the repair shop and they don't know what language to talk, so they've got some idea of what they're talking about.
And you actually said that makes your job a little bit easier.
Oh, much easier, because an educated consumer is easier to continue to educate them.
Perfect. Well, I need you to educate me now. So earlier we talked about the timing belt and how important that is to take care of. Now, what is another aspect we need to take care of here?
Well, the timing belt and the water pump uses the cooling system. Now we need to service the cooling system every 3 years or 36,000 miles. So simple as flush the cooling system, and we'll pressure test that system, and then we'll also add new coolant when we're done.
All right, well, we are going to go ahead and show you how that's done, but we will show you that a little bit later in the show, or you can also check it out on our YouTube page. And don't forget, we have more tips, so make sure you keep it here.
All right, sounds good. Talking about Car Care Month and all the things that you should be on the lookout for so that you don't necessarily have to be in the shop as often, maybe. Kristen?
Well, good morning. Now, you've had it. I've had it. We have all had the check engine light on. And to be honest, it could be a little bit scary because you never know what you could find on your hood. But we're telling everyone, do not be fearful of the light.
First off, it could be so simple as a gas cap, or the seal on the cap could be torn. Obviously, we can't see that very well here, but they get cracked. It's a rubber seal, and we have fuel right there.
And how much does this cost to fix?
$10.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that we have something hugely wrong with your engine. So we would recommend people to come in as soon as they kind of see that light.
Yeah, when you have the engine light come on, have a technician scan the vehicle, check it, do some diagnostics. There will be a small charge for that. And of course, we'll use some equipment of this, and then we'll look at that and decide where the problem is. Once that diagnostics is done, then we're able to put an assessment together with obviously an estimate.
So what are some other problems that check engine light can kind of ticker off?
Once again, in front of us, that diagnostic's going to show us real simple things as a misfire. That would be one thought, and that would be a simple tune-up.
All right, well, we are going to dive into that tune-up because we all definitely need those. Very important for cars. So we're going to go ahead and show you that coming up a little bit later in the show. And again, if you have any questions, make sure you tweet me out at Kristen Aguirre, or don't forget to Facebook me because we got Dan here and we'll get some free advice.
All right, and I know someone has troubles what to do when you see those dreaded lights come on the dashboard. Kristen?
That's right, we are talking car repair, April's National Car Care Month, and now we're talking about the check engine light. Now, we talked a little bit before, when you see the light, do not fear it.
Correct. Once again, we want to touch on regular maintenance. And the regular maintenance would be so simple as, and I'll just touch on a few of those highlights, flushing the cooling system, tune-ups, fuel filters. We always forget about that fuel filter. He's real important also. Then we want to, obviously, with regular maintenance, when we have that car serviced, we're going to look at those tires and make certain the tires are wearing properly and inflation.
So let's touch on this. Now, what are these again?
This here's a fuel filter. We always have a tendency to forget about one. And as you can see, this one's been on this car forever. Extremely rusty, and sometimes they do rust out. And then we have ignition wires, a coil, and the spark plugs over there on the side.
And some of these parts aren't really that expensive, so if the check engine light comes on, you can come in here or anywhere and get it maintenanced. And some of these things won't cost that much money, but if you let them go longer, that's when the real payoff is in.
Correct. For instance, if we let that fuel filter go, and when it gets restricted, that fuel pump can't work well. So if we replace that fuel filter on a regular basis, we won't have to worry about that fuel pump failure.
All right, well, for some more of these tips, you can always check out our website at connecttristates.com, or go ahead and toss it back to you guys for break, or come back to the show after the break. Well, all morning we have been giving you tips to celebrate National Car Care Month. Now we're leaving you with one last tip, and that is brake pads. So what do they need to know?
Don't ignore the brake noise. Always have it looked at. So often, if the brake is noisy, or even if it's not noisy, the pad can be falling apart, as this one here has.
Wow. So for more of Dan's tips, make sure you visit our website, connecttristates.com, and don't forget to check us out on YouTube.